if your environment is not conducive of productivity and you're constantly distracted by the chaos that is clutter, it makes it that much harder to achieve goals. You keep putting on your resolution rap sheet and not completing within the year. I'm a firm believer that your environment has huge effect on your ability to tackle your goals, which is why I have gone on a decluttering journey. I've done it within moderation. It's helped me clear my mind. It helps build confidence to keep a clean space, and it also is a form of self-care. And that's why I'm so firm in believing that we all need another home reset. Let's just do a regular reset that can be done in a couple of hours, where we clear surfaces and wipe things down. A clutter-free space is not going to solve all of your problems, but it is going to help clarify your mind. Only a couple of years ago, I was feeling so overwhelmed and deep in sadness because I was grieving my late mother. I felt like I lived in a space that wasn't conducive of my life anymore. Like, it wasn't helping me achieve what I wanted to achieve or feel the way that I wanted to feel. I've gone about this without even shopping very much. I essentially remixed my possessions, shuffled things around, cleaned things up, decluttered things I wasn't using, and just that alone really helped me. It's one thing to write things down, but it's a whole other thing to not set up your environment for success. And that is something I feel very strongly about, which is clearly why I've been posting decluttering content for the last couple of years. Now, bear with me. I don't particularly love tidying up, but I'll put on some music or put on a podcast, or you can even listen to an audiobook. Make it a fun affair to clean your stuff and create a routine around it. Sort of the way that you have to convince yourself to work out and to do the other things that are good for you, like home cooking and so forth. Tidying, decluttering, and cleaning don't have to be these loathed experiences, because they can really benefit you. I'd say for a home reset, I started with my bedroom first, even if that meant cluttering up the spare room or cluttering up a corner of my living room. Visual clutter is so exhausting, and your bedroom is where you want to go and rest, curl up with a book before bed. First thing in the morning, the last thing you want to do is open your eyes to a pile of clothes. I would go for the bedroom first. Clean your linens, your curtains, wipe down your window, wipe down your surfaces, clear those surfaces of frivolous things you're not using all the time. Keep your things corralled. For instance, in my bedroom, I do keep some perfumes out because I want to inspire myself to reach for them and use them, and they're things that I enjoy looking at and using. I keep a little bin for them and a nice marble tray, but my jewelry is secluded in the jewelry box, and then everything else is in the dresser. There's no chair for me to toss clothes that I'm not using, it has been difficult. I've actually emptied out one drawer in my dresser for it to be like the drawer where I stick the clothes that I've worn that are not dirty yet, but not super clean, if that makes any sense. That's a hot spot for me. My bedroom needs to be serene, relaxing. It also makes a huge difference in your nighttime routine and to fall asleep. Let's talk about other focus areas now that are super important. Kitchen counters. Clear your counters of things you don't use often. Like, I don't mind taking my kettle out and then putting it back at the end of the night before bed. It liberates the space and reduces visual clutter. If your counter is full of a bunch of appliances that you're not using 3 times a day, then they kind of have no business being on the counter, except the coffee machine. I don't like taking that up and down. Expired pantry items, I think it's really important to do that every 3 months and to just be mindful of purchasing things you actually use. Excess decor. I had a little bit of excess decor in the kitchen, and I'm actually decluttering some of it. It had its place on the wall in my kitchen for a while. It kind of made my kitchen look cluttered. So I took these little angels that were from my mother's room and I put them over the sink. It kind of blends in with the wall and I only see them when I'm washing the dishes. For the most part, I don't like having too much decor in the kitchen because it just ends up getting dirty and it makes the space look more cluttered than it has to look. Be intentional with the decorative items that you keep in the kitchen and make sure they kind of serve a purpose or have a sentimental value to you. Let's move on to our workspace. Are there a bunch of exposed cables, papers, gadgets, unused office supplies? Find a place to put those so that they aren't scattered all over the place. I have some stationary dividers that I have in the shelf right behind me that I use to keep things. Yes, I gotta declutter them, but for now my focus is just to clear my desktop because it's so distracting when you have a bunch of receipts, a bunch of papers, notebooks and everything laying all over the place. If you're finding everything super overwhelming to tackle right away, when it comes to desk space, for instance, maybe just clear the desk, put all those things in a box and keep them close to your desk. I know it sounds a bit like you're cheating. You can always go through that extra drawer or that little box at another time, but when you're doing a home reset, you don't want to be focusing on every tiny little bit and bob. You kind of want to put those things aside to deal with them after, but actually really deal with them after. The entryway, the bane of my existence. I have dwindled down the amount of shoes that I keep at my entrance. There used to be a shoe rack. Now that it's just me that lives here, I tend to rotate 2 to 3 pairs of shoes. Even worse now that it's winter and it's slushy outside, I tend to only wear my Bluntstones or my Vagabonds. Everything else can be put away, and if I do put it away after wearing it out when it's all wet and gross, I will wipe it down promptly and put it away. It might sound like that would be super time consuming, and it may be for a person in a house of many people and children, but in my case, it just makes so much more sense. The other thing is I have a bin for everything that is scarves, hats, accessories. I have a coat closet and I make sure to always put my coat in the coat closet immediately after I come in from being outside. Unless the coat is wet from rain or whatever, what have you, then I'm gonna let it dry first and then put it away. You would be surprised. It's such a little thing and it makes a huge difference. For the most part, reduce visual clutter. It'll make cleaning easier as well as make it less stressful when you're about to leave the door because you know exactly where everything is and it's just really easy to grab and go. I also keep a tray in my entrance that has hand sanitizer, hand cream, a perfume because I love to wear perfume and I will top up before I leave the house. You can also have just a catch-all little basket that you keep all the mail in and go through that periodically. I like to go through it right away because paper just drives me wild. I don't like it at all. Decluttering is only the first step. You must implement systems to keep clutter under control indefinitely. It'll just help you with the maintenance later on. So like I mentioned, I have my whole little routine for papers and stationery and such. Another practical solution is, of course, storage bins. You can use bins, optimize vertical storage. I like clear bins for inside cabinets or under the bathroom sink, for instance, where I want to visually see what's in the bin, or put a label on the bin so that it doesn't just become a catch-all for random stuff that you don't know what to do with and you just shove things in it willy-nilly, not knowing what's going in there. It's so easy to forget stuff that you've organized previously if it's not something you reach into habitually. If you can, it doesn't have to be a fancy label maker situation. I've kept stickers from my Moleskine agendas which have little letters, and I've used that to put labels on things. If not, just use masking tape and a marker and write down what's in the thing and put it on. It doesn't have to be gorgeous. Can we stop with trying to make everything perfectly aesthetic? It's not realistic. Daily habits will save you. in this aspect as well. I have a tendency of doing like a mini reset before bed every night, making sure that my sink is emptied out. I'll put those dishes away, wipe down the counters, and make sure that there isn't any clutter. If I'm working from home and I gotta come to my desk to start work, or I'm coming to my desk to do my makeup before I go into the office, I like to make sure everything is where it belongs. I have my everyday makeup in this bin. It's clear, it's easy, grab some things, cha-cha-cha, and I'm done. Just be on top of those little things and you would be surprised at how seamless it makes your life so much easier, because then you can autopilot the things you do habitually that you really shouldn't have to be making more complicated than they need to be in life. Don't make your routine more difficult. Hooks on the back of doors in my bedroom, all the purses that I use frequently. In the bathroom, only the towels that I use on a daily basis. In the kitchen, I have a couple of command style hooks that hold some cleaning supplies so that it's easy to reach, but also not an eyesore all the time. And I use bins to divide the clothing in my drawers so that I know this is where all my socks are. This is where my full cheek coverage underwear are. And then I've got a little bin for my thongs, so I'm not like rummaging through an entire drawer looking for matching socks and looking for the right underwear for this outfit. It's the little things in life, y'all. It really is. And of course, you'll want to reflect. Use your space after you reset it and reflect. Knowing what your goals are, the way you set up your space, and the little mini micro habits that you adopt can help you ease into tackling your goals. For instance, when my goal was to eat less junk food, I didn't want to eliminate junk food completely because I know myself and I would feel like I'm limiting my life, and I really enjoy chips, for example. I've got these little bowls. I would use that to portion out my chips rather than going to the couch, sitting with that bag of chips, because if not, it's KO for the bag of chips, okay? Like, I would just inhale it if it was all in front of me at once, especially if I'm mindlessly eating while watching TV. But the bowls, well, if I have to get up and go refill that bowl, maybe I get up to refill that bowl, but then I realize, oh, actually, I've got apples that I can cut up, or I've got berries that I can eat. So I would then make my second serving of snacks be something healthy and would feel guilty about refilling it with another portion of chips. When I set up my space in a way that I wanted it to be conducive of doing home workouts, I made sure that my weights had a place in my living room. I could set up right in front of the TV so I could follow MadFit. These little things make it easier to accomplish your goals because you're not distracted by a pile of crap that you need to put away. When there isn't stuff all over the place, it's so much easier to focus. You have less resistance. It's a game changer, y'all. Like, it feels so good. It also makes you hyper aware of certain things. Like, answer me these questions in the comments, okay? What items add real value to your life in your home? What are the things that stress you out the most in your home? What habits make you feel organized and productive? Take notes, because if you have trouble thinking of where to begin or how to start a home reset, these are the questions you should ask yourself. Write these down and then journal your response. Take photos. Make it something that you revisit once a month, once every 3 months, or what have you. These are just things that have helped me so much, and being intentional makes such a huge difference. If you're serious about creating an intentional space in 2025, I've included a worksheet that's free, and it includes prompts and things that you can use to journal. I don't know. I'm a paper agenda person, so I'm not a Notion girly yet. I just find that writing things out and journaling makes a huge difference. What is the space in your home that you want to reset the most? If you're loving this reset energy so far, I know a lot of you have told me that your closet and clothing is a problem area. I have a huge closet declutter where we could declutter together if you like some body doubling. And I'll see you in my next video. Love you. Bye. Happy decluttering.